Good morning, good evening, everyone, depending on wherever you are. We're really excited to talk with you today at the Open edX end of year celebration. All things considered, it's been a great year for us and our partners. I hope it was a good year for all of you as well. I'm also thankful to the Open edX team for creating spaces and opportunity like this that help all of us from the community to keep running into each other and stay connected. Just waiting for Asad. I think he's having a bit of a problem. Apologies, please just give us like half a sec. Awesome. So all of us are here now. We're sharing stage today, but Asad and I are joining today from Waterloo, Canada, and Lahore, Pakistan, respectively. A quick intro to myself. I've been working at Edly for the last 6 years. I work as a product lead / product manager for some of our edtech partners and our learning platform products. And Asad. So you may be on mute.
Hi everyone, I'm Asad, and I am a learning experience specialist at Edly. I've been with Edly for a little over a year now, and my primary work is to design engaging learning products and experiences for all learners.
Awesome. So at Edly, as some of you may already know, we have some really great partnerships, Open edX and edX amongst them, obviously. And want to talk about some of the work we've been doing for our partners and our learning solutions that we provide to organizations of all shapes and sizes. Most of that work has Open edX at its heart. And so here's where we are today, a platform that we all know and love that supports a wide range of use cases where the scalability and robustness of Open edX is self-evident. But Open edX and other LMSs for that matter present a limitation in terms of the types of learning products and experiences and training and course formats that can be supported by the platform. In that regard, most platforms tend to be very inelastic. Think about how edX or Coursera are different from something like Skillshare or LinkedIn Learning or Udemy or a compliance training platform that may be used at your organization. So while we believe that this rigidity serves a purpose by improving consistency and reducing the learning curve for the platform itself, etc., it also narrows down the type of learning experiences user interface and the user experience get in the way of learning. So to remedy that and other challenges, we always find ourselves one question: what can we do to improve it? What can we do to make it better? So we understand, like anything else, even in e-learning, one size doesn't fit all. So the possibilities of being able to provide support for Udemy-style video-based courses or smaller micro-learning instances like Primer by Google or 7 Tabs, etc., So all those things could be possible within OpenEdX. In other words, imagine one platform to rule them all with the power, scalability, and flexibility of OpenEdX that can empower instructional designers and educators to make learning magic happen. And we want to help enable that for them and our partners. To that end, we've accomplished multiple things during this year. And today in this talk, we want to talk about a few of them. Before I do that, I want to take a moment and talk about why we believe that versatility is important. The good thing about this versatility is that it provides for options, it provides for flexibility. Um, and of course, if the need and context for your learners are fully met by one format, whether there's an existing one or a new one, that's great. You can obviously do that. But sometimes or oftentimes that's not the case. For those situations, we wanted to make sure that you don't have to go looking for options outside of your OpenEdX platform, because you can do it all right here within the OpenEdX platform. Now, I want to tag Asad to talk about, but more importantly, and hopefully excitingly, show us how we've leveraged OpenEdX to enhance learner engagement. Over to you, Asad. Asad, I'm sorry, I think you're on mute.
Okay, thank you, Bilal. I hope everyone can hear me. Bilal, if you could please confirm that.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So thank you, Bilal. Hi, everyone, again. As Bilal mentioned, a lot of the things that we've been doing at Edly are really in service to answering that question. What can we do better? How can we do better? How can we leverage the robust engineering and technology infrastructure of OpenEdX platform and provide a good, delightful, and a cohesive learning experience? And because we strongly believe that whatever we do, whatever we build, the learners have to be at the core of it. They have to be at the center of it. So in that spirit, we decided that we need to prioritize learner engagement. And so I'll be spending the majority of this time of my talk to really walk through some of the functionality and some of the features that we've built into the learner experience. But before I do that, I also think it's pertinent that we just define what we mean by learner engagement. Now, you see, oftentimes in the e-learning space and edtech in general, or learning communities, the term learner engagement is conflated with learner participation or attention or interaction. But while learner participation is a major component of it, we don't think it's the whole of it. We don't think learner engagement is as simple as that. It's indeed something more complex. It's a function of more than just the participation from the learner. And this increasingly complex nature of learner experience has its roots in the involvement of so many different dimensions. And I think broadly we could say that learner engagement is a function of social, cognitive, behavioral, and emotional dimensions. This means that a truly engaged learner, be it any course or training or any other learning intervention, any other learning product, a truly engaged learner is one who is excited to embark on a learning journey, somebody who's motivated to take a learning experience, and somebody who's and not only that, like a truly engaged leader will also exercise a certain level of autonomy and agency over the learning experience and their learning journey. But here's the thing. All of that is only possible if we provide for that opportunity. As instructional designers, we need to make sure that we create content and present that content in an environment where the learner feels that they have that autonomy. And the reason I wanted to talk about this prior to showing those features is because no amount of good instructional design can accomplish that. We do believe that the platform has an equal role to play. So it's really a combination of instructional design and the technology, the platform that we use to then present that well-designed instruction. Now, fortunately, Open edX platform is a great engine to power all of this. We just have to use the right things in the right way to bring all of this of all of these experiences to life. So how do we connect the dots? We have believed or we have learned that there are so many inherent barriers to learner engagement in any environment. So first and foremost, the learning content itself can sometimes be very poorly designed or not well structured. engage one single modality and don't provide enough opportunities for learners to engage with content in a variety of formats. Now, this means that we rarely see targeted assessments. We rarely see enough opportunities for collaboration, discussion, social learning, reflections, and even embedded practice in the learning content. And so that's what we've tried to remedy by our instructional design efforts. And while frankly, we at Edly are not big believers in boxing people into rigid learning styles per se, but we also do believe that individual needs do exist and individual preferences should be respected. So with all of that in mind, these are some of the things, some of the broad areas that we've tried to address. We've tried to make use of best practices of assessment design and strategy and developed a number of different XBlocks that allow for a very holistic assessment opportunity, be it diagnostic assessments or interim assessments or assessments to scaffold learning that are purely formative in nature, as well as more comprehensive final exams or quizzes or summative assessments. So we've developed a number of XBlocks. We'll quickly go through them. The second area that we've tried to work on is cognition, just leveraging cognitive science and adult learning principles to empower learners on their learning journey. This we've done through features such as learning logs and journals and note-taking, and just enabling the learners to be more in charge of their own learning. So essentially, making them more metacognitive, aware and able. And the third one is just enhancing the level of interactivity, but careful and strategic level of interactivity to make sure that any XBlocks and any support activities that we have developed actually feel like a unified experience within the platform. So I'll take a few minutes now, and if we can just go over some of the things. So Bilal had initially talked about different types of engagement methods, different types of delivery formats like videos and everything. So I want to talk about this particular experience that we developed for presenting content that is primarily videos. A lot of learners, we engage in social media platforms. There's YouTube, there's Skillshare, Udemy, so many different platforms out there where people go and learn content that is primarily video based in nature. And to provide for a seamless experience for such courses, we developed, so if you could just allow me to my screen. So this is what that experience looked like. We worked on the navigation, make everything very easy to follow for the learners, provide them a big picture of what kind of learning experience there's going to be. We developed this XBlock that provides you a video library with thumbnails of the video, as well as time allocation of each video that learners can interact with. They can watch a video, and we can embed different types of content like readings and assessments and interactive exercises and discussion forums, for that matter, where we feel appropriate. But the good thing about this that I want to talk about is that instead of providing opportunities sparingly for discussions and note-taking and providing feedback, we've tried to incorporate that at the most micro level. So for every video, for every content that the learner consumes, this XBlock provides you opportunities, or provides the learner the opportunity to share their feedback, whether they liked or disliked the video. They have the option to rate a video so that we can use that data and leverage it to provide a more personalized and a more data driven approach to their personal learning needs. As always, accessibility and providing support for people who are differently abled or people with disabilities is an important focus of all our work. So adhering to the DCMP keys for closed captioning and transcription, this XBlock is going to provide for a more seamless experience for people who are visually impaired and can follow along with transcripts. We've also created a notebook feature which allows learners to take personalized notes as they watch any video content. As they're consuming content, they're able to capture notes, write their own notes. They're also able to upload attachments, which will then which can then be retrieved and used by the learners in their personalized learning space. And of course, we with our focus on social learning and peer-to-peer learning, we wanted to maximize the opportunities for learners to be able to spark, to start a discussion, to ask questions, provide feedback. So this discussion this discussion forum is essentially part of that XBlock that allows us to do that. And I will also take 1 minute to quickly talk about. Can everyone? Okay. So maybe we can see a very quick live version of this this experience that we've developed on the platform here. So we have a course on information security essentials that our team put together. As a learner, I'm able to, I have more visibility in terms of what my time commitment for this course is going to be like. I can navigate through this sections and units very easily from here. I also have a very simple console-like navigation experience down here if I want to go from one unit to another. I will perhaps take a minute to talk about this other XBlock that we developed for providing certain types of assessments that we feel are really important for one at a time carousel-like a view where we want to optimize the amount of content on screen for people when they're taking assessments. So as part of this XBlock, we can author any type of assessments, be it a multiple response or a multiple choice question. We're able to match the look and feel. We're able to work with the instructional designers to create this content in any format. We're able to have graded versus ungraded and other types of common problem types that edX supports. The good thing about this XBlock is that it allows learners to be more on track with their time management as they're taking assessments, especially if they're timed. And let's say if we can attempt some of them, learners are able to interact with different options. They get immediate feedback that is color-coded to provide a better visual reference about how they're doing. We'll just attempt some of those. And as soon as they get to the finished state, this is where this can trigger course completion, as well as their grading will be updated so they can proceed to course completion. So that's an example. And of course, if they don't meet the grading requirement, we have this final screen, which in a very simple visual way lets the learner know how they're doing. They also have the option of reviewing the content that they didn't get right. So that's one XBlock I wanted to talk about. Another thing that I think would be important for us to see is that as part of our focus on holistic assessment strategy and assessment design, we developed this XBlock that we call KWL, which is an acronym for Know, Wonder, Learn, a very typical approach often used in classrooms by teachers and instructional designers alike, is to provide the learner an opportunity to reflect on their current standing of knowledge and familiarity with the content prior to them diving into the learning journey itself. And through this XBlock, they're able to do just that. The benefits of this XBlock are multiple. Firstly, the learners are able to log what they know about a certain topic. If I'm about to take this course on information security essentials, perhaps I know certain things about it. I'm able to do that. I'm also able to add things that I wonder about this topic, things that I don't know about this topic, but I would like to learn. I'm able to add that. And this will be used for future purposes within the course to guide your learning effort. When I get to the end of the course, this XBlock will reflect whatever entries I input at the beginning of the course. And say if I wondered something about a particular topic, and if I learned it through this course, I'm able to drag it into the learned column. And this is a great way for learners to be on track, for them to validate what they've learned, for them to feel accomplished, and for them to really know what was in this course for them. And it's also a great way for us as instructional designers to get feedback in an indirect way from the learners, whether how the learners are engaging with this content, how valuable is that content, and how much learning is actually happening. So that's another XBlock that we've developed in the same spirit. I would also talk about this XBlock that we developed to allow learners to rate their experience about a course, because as is the case with learner engagement, we often need to gauge learner satisfaction. And satisfaction, for those of you who are from a background in instructional design, you may be very well familiar with different models of evaluation. And I think especially Kirkpatrick's model of evaluation, typically when we gather feedback on any course, we often don't go beyond level 1 reaction. But even when we're talking about assessment and evaluation of course in the most fundamental way, we need input from learners, and this XBlock allows us just to do that. They're able to rank a course based on their experience on a Likert scale. They're also able to share any suggestions or feedback all within the same XBlock, and they're also able to share an overall grading of the course, a recommendation. This XBlock allows us to capture data that is a very important part of learner analytics that can help us optimize future versions of the same course, or help us keep the course up to date and help us optimize it to meet the ever-changing learner needs. Another XBlock I think would be good for us to talk about is a carousel that. Sorry, if you could just give me 1 second. I think I've... So another XBlock I'd like to talk about is one that provides for a similar experience, but this time we have non-graded assessments that allow the learner to... So here, the reason I wanted to talk about this separate from the original, from the previous Carousel assessment XBlock that we saw, is because this one is an adapted version of the same experience. So in this case, depending on what the user answers, we're able to guide them. And once unfortunately, I won't be able to go through all of these questions due to the time limitation. But if I were, as a learner, to fill in all of these questions at the end of the assessment, the XBlock will guide me towards parts that I got wrong, so I can review content, reattempt the assessment, and again, it's a great way of personalizing feedback so that the learner isn't expected to go through the entire assessment, but only parts that they got wrong or parts that they were lacking in. And finally, I would also like to talk about how we've tried to make the learner experience cohesive. And I'd like to connect this to my previous point that we believe that learner content and learner experience are one unified thing, and they should, as such, feel the same. So we've developed these activities that provide for a very personal experience, adaptive experience, where I can enter information about myself, where I'm located. This is a calculator that we developed for learners to understand their impact on the environment and what they can do about it. I can do my specific input based on my context, talk about answer some of these questions, and based on that, this activity will give me very, very personalized feedback on how I'm doing in terms of environment and how I should do and how I can take care of that. So with that, I'd like to conclude the demo. And if we have any questions, we'd also like to talk about some of the things that we are currently working on. Bilal, if you could please take a few minutes to talk about that, and then any questions that may be there for us.
Yeah, so I'll make it super quick. I think all these different things that we're working on, we're really excited about them. So if you have any ideas or want to talk about any of these things with us, we're eager to hear from you. So yeah, just that, and we can wrap up our presentation here and open the floor for any questions. I see some questions already in the chat.
Thank you, Bilal. And I also wanted to just say that once all of these features are fully developed, we would love to share these with the community, with the wider community, for everyone's benefit. So we're really excited, and we'd really appreciate any feedback or any suggestions and questions for that matter.
Thank you, Fakir and Asad, for this great presentation. So let's open it up to the Q&A segment now. One question that was posed is the theme XBlock open source?
Yep, so I can take that one. The user interface and the user experience, we saw that was a combination of XBlocks and some new functionality that we've created. So we will be looking to open source most of that in coming weeks and months, and share that with the rest of the community as well.
Great, thank you. Another question that came up is, what is the authoring experience for an XBlock like the Carousel assessment? Does it leverage exciting problem types? What about library content?
Yeah, I think it may be about like existing problem types, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Do you want to take that one, Asad?
Correct. So at the moment, for the Carousel XBlock, the support is with the 4 common problem types. So this includes MCQs, MRQs, and we're looking to add other types of content, including the the drop down and other types of drag and drop activities. But at the moment, we limited this to the 4 common problem types from Open edX. And also in terms of content library, that's something that's part of the roadmap, and we're working actively on it. But at the moment, the Carousel XBlock does not support content library or randomization of questions.
One note that I would like to add to that is that one major focus for us in creating these different X blocks is to minimize changes to the authoring experience. So whatever existing problem types that are available on Studio right now, and whatever the current methods for configuring them, we keep that as untouched and unchanged as possible to minimize disruption to how course authors or instructor designers are already using Studio.
Okay, great. Another question that came up is, does Edly leverage any gamification tools to increase versatility and enhance learner engagement?
Sure, I can take that. So one of the focus from an instructional design standpoint that we have is to put the learner at the core. And if we do believe that significant gamification opportunities exist, I think this depends on the type of content that we're producing. At the moment, our focus is on adding interactivity of other sorts and personalizing and adapting learning experiences. This means providing targeted feedback that is based on learner input and things like that. But this does not involve any scoring and other types of gamification elements. And that's an intentional this is intentional because we wanted to make sure that we target the learner engagement first, and then talk about and then look at other opportunities where we can make the experience more fun. We believe that the opposite of this approach perhaps may not be very productive.
Okay, great. Are there any other questions for Edly? Feel free to post them in the everyone chat option. If there are no other questions, we can gather over to the carpet area E for Edly. Fakir and Asad will be available there to answer any additional questions that you may have. The event concludes in about 25 minutes, so feel free to gather the remainder of the time to ask questions in that area or interact with people in the common space. Thank you for attending. Thank you, Fakir. Hi, Asad and Fakir. I assigned carpet area E, which is to the right of the front desk area, if you want to go there and interact with people.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Ned, can you hear me? Oh, I can't hear you.
I know I was moved.
Okay.
I was also standing on the rug.
Everything okay?
Javier's going really long, but
he's still going on?
He's still talking.
Oh, okay.
And yeah.
Okay, so I guess I'll monitor the common space then now.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.